You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Support for the Jay Allen Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their fourth-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SAFETY at manscaped.com. Imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed, and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I'm blown away by the performance. The craftsmanship and the detail on the 4.0 are next level. You know, more times of actually handling blades and becoming a bloody mess, if you know what I'm saying there. Manscaped engineered the ultimate growing and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and incredible, comfortable grooming experience. The fourth generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. This upgraded trimmer includes a multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock. It also gives the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for some precise shave. The Lawnmower 4.0 even allows you to customize your trim throughout additional guards, lengths with sizes 1 through 4. Did I mention that it's wireless charging? Yeah, not a joke here. The new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. Men, if you've been shaving with the same nut trimmer on your face, you've been doing it wrong. No person wants to end up with pubes in their mouth. It's time to get your own ball hair and body trimmer with Manscaped to make me time the best time and enhance your confidence with some nice, smooth boys. Get 20% off and free shipping with code SAFETY at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with code SAFETY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code SAFETY. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
The Jay Allen Show is streaming now on safetyfm.live.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of the Jay Allen Show. Hopefully everything is good and grand as you're starting off this particular week. So I have to tell you a lot of stuff going on this episode, so I want to kind of give you a fair warning. We're going to be talking about a lot of things today related to America's mental health. Yeah, you heard me correctly. We're going to be talking about mental health issues and some stuff that we're going to talk about, also known as Narcan. I had the privilege and the honor of sitting down with Brittany Smith to talk about this all-important conversation. So I want to talk about this real quick before we get into the episode. Before COVID-19, the nation's mental health wasn't that great. During COVID-19, it has been disastrous. In 2019, there was a record number of suicides, over 47,000, and overdoses of over 70,000, as well as a high rates of depression and anxiety among young people. Throw COVID into the mix, and depression rates have tripled as of last June. Fatal overdoses increased in an all-time record high of 81,000. So I think that this conversation today is extremely important as we are continuing going down the path of what we're seeing with COVID and the things that are going on. So I want you to sit back and take a listen of this conversation that I have today with Brittany Smith on The Jay Allen Show.
Safety FM. Changing safety cultures, one broadcast and one podcast at a time.
So I guess we'll start off from the very beginning. I know that we had actually started off with a conversation and we started talking about addiction and we got into the conversation of Narcan. And I really thought it was such a very important message to talk about. How did you start getting involved with the whole thing and even going into the conversation about Narcan? How did it come about into your life?
Well, I mean, I'd have to go way back to like when I was 13, and I discovered drugs and alcohol. And, I mean, that's a story in and of itself, but I'm a person in long-term recovery. I will actually have 2 years clean and sober June 13th. So,
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have been, I guess, lack of terminology, a fortunate, drug user, because I've never overdosed. I never experienced that. However, back in June of 2018, my mother was found unresponsive in the living room. And my dad, tried to give her Narcan. This was, before they had the nasal doses. And my dad was trying to revive her, but, he couldn't, so that was where the seed was planted, when it comes to dealing with Narcan. And then, of course, being in the arena of recovery, the unfortunate thing is, relapse happens, man, and people don't make it back, so you hear a buzz about Narcan, and again, June, I don't know what's up with June, but June 16th, 2019, I moved up here and, began my recovery journey up here. And
so for people that don't know, we're talking about North Florida, just in case.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'll back up. I'm born and raised Broward County, lived there 29 years of my life.
Mm-hmm. And so South Florida for the non-Floridians in our group, because that will happen.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Fort Lauderdale,
right.
So the Fort Lauderdale area, that's where I was born and raised. And me and my husband, we actually relocated up here for a business opportunity. But I mean, I'm a spiritual person and the job opportunity never happened. However, I created the most solid sobriety I've ever had in my life. So, when I say spiritual, God plays a huge factor in my life. And I think the job opportunity was me to relocate up here. So anyways, so with my networking going on here within the recovery community in New Smyrna Beach, I got connected with some people to do some outreach services, speak to the homeless people, volunteer. I was pregnant. I wasn't doing much except online school. I was doing full-time school at Daytona State, and so I had a lot of free time and didn't really know what to do with myself. So I got in touch with this organization called Volusia Recovery Alliance. And what they are, they're a community recovery organization. And what that means is we have certified recovery peer specialists who help people get into recovery. We meet people where they're at. We don't force recovery down their throat. If they call and say, hey, I'm thinking about going into recovery. Okay, well, we'll sit there and we'll talk you through what you're going through and, decide what the best decisions are for them. It's kind of like we coach them in the right direction.
So let's talk about that for a moment, because there's probably really a couple of things that we probably need to answer just for us to have a better understanding, at least on my side of the equation. Can you explain to people that might have never heard of Narcan on what it actually does and what would be the use on what it goes into, or why you would need to use it, number one? And then I'll ask you a follow-up in regard to what you were just talking about.
Okay, so Narcan is an overdose reversal drug. I actually have a training kit with me, and I wish you could see me at the moment, but I think we can put up a link possibly.
Oh, absolutely.
So what it is, it's a nasal dosage of spray, and it has a little plunger, and let's say you're at the store and you walk out and you notice someone on the front step of the store, they're passed out. You have Narcan on you. You go up to them, you announce yourself, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? No response, do this sternum check, and then you grab the Narcan, you put it in their nose, and you just push the plunger one time, have the person lay on their back. Once you squirt it in their nose, you turn them on their side in the recovery position, which is on the left side, one leg bent, arm extended over the head.
So similar to how you would put somebody in the recovery position for CPR, give or take, or if they were cleaning out a choking hazard.
Correct.
Okay.
And so give it about 2-3 minutes after that first dose. If they're still not responsive, you administer the second dose. Now, the ideal situation is you have someone else with you. Mm-hmm. And if you are in that scenario, have them call 911, because number one, you're probably going to be, shocked, panicked, whatever. You're trying to focus on the individual you're trying to, help. When you're on the phone with 911, they're telling you all sorts of things. So, the buddy system is great. Usually
so does the Narcan give you two doses per container, or how does it end up working? Because you said
correct.
Use the second. Okay.
One box is technically one dose, okay, because the first dose revives, the second dose stabilizes until EMS gets on the scene, and then they'll usually, administer more Narcan if needed.
Okay. So here's the weird part then, because I know that we were having the conversation about this, and right, we had a brief discussion on how it's being used out in the field. And you referenced that there's certain police departments that have access to it, and that there's certain police departments that are not wanting currently to, we'll say, quote unquote, invest into giving this to their officers.
Right.
Or is this something that you're seeing in the community that you're in, or are you seeing this across the board, or how is that working?
It's hit and miss. I won't mention exactly which departments that I don't blame you. Because I am we are a Narcan distributor for the county of Volusia. Okay. So I believe, from what I've heard, there's one or two that I know for sure that will not partake in having Narcan on hands. I don't know if that's just a personal preference from, the uppers there or what, but I do know that it revolves around the stigma of harm reduction and the stigma of Narcan. People think, oh, we can just go, use drugs and not die because we have Narcan, but that's not the actuality, because if you've ever been Narcan, you're going to know how that feels. It's the worst thing in the world from what I've been told.
So the only thing that, of course, that I can think of that comes to mind, and I have to go to movies because that's the way that it would work.
Of course.
There is much older movie at this point called Pulp Fiction.
Of course.
That's where I have to default to, of course.
I just watched it the other day.
So is it similar to that? I know that we're talking about a shot of adrenaline for people who have watched the movie. Is it that initial reaction where the person... Okay.
It can be. Now, it also depends on how much drugs they have in their system. Okay. So if it's, let's say, a little bit, and it's like, hypothetically speaking, it's, their first time using, so they only do a little bit and they overdose. Well, if I give them just one of these plungers, 2 to 1, they're going to react like that. Okay. Maybe not to that extent, but it's not uncommon to have someone come to and start swinging.
Oh,
meaning,
wow. Okay.
Throwing hands.
I understood. Believe me.
Yeah. They vomit. They'll have bowel movements sometimes. You just don't know. Not everyone comes to the same way because it's an instant reversal. You're down and then you get that shot of adrenaline, so to speak. Okay. So
let me ask you that then. You say that you meet people where they're at.
Right.
When it comes about and you are giving people ideas on what they can do next for the recovery phase and so on, does it normally start after taking Narcan? Is this normally where a good chunk of your conversations occur, or do you find them in different segments?
That's what we would like, but that involves, hiring more staff to, we'd have to hire more peer specialists. Then we would have to get in with a hospital, where that's where they, need us because they're receiving the individuals that have just came to from an overdose, so we're in the process of getting that to happen. But again, it's a process, and a lot of people aren't certified to be peer specialists. And that's because, one, a lot of people aren't aware of this position in the state of Florida. And two, a lot of people who are in recovery who would qualify to do these jobs, or are probably more qualified to do these jobs, have backgrounds. And unless you can pass a level 2 background in the state of Florida, you can't get certified.
Okay, and is that something that you would see nationwide with a level 2 background? Now, keep in mind that a level 2 background, for the people that don't know, is a higher tier background than just a normal employment background. So, is this something that that you would also recognize in other states, or do you know the information mostly for Florida?
Only for Florida, because in the state of Florida, our licenses are not usually recognized by other states.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Go Florida.
Yeah, not Florida, no. But yeah, so it's only in the state of Florida, and it's through the Florida Certification Board. And the licenses for these types of positions, such as the certified recovery peer specialist or recovery support specialist, you have recovery coaches, behavioral health technicians, therapists, counselors, they all have to be licensed through DCF. So that's where the level 2 background comes in at. So the DCF runs a level 2 background. And then if there's something on your record, depending on what the charges are, they do allow you an exemption process. But again, that's a process. You have to request all your records, all the court documentations, letters of recommendation, how you've changed your life from then to now, and then it's a waiting game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And not just for nothing, but there's a financial obligation as well, because you have to pay for all these records, Right. So
and how long are we talking here? So let's say, for instance, you request records, you have to go through the level 2 check, you're going through this process. What's the wait? Because you already have the money investment. You already know that you have the heart of a volunteer where you want to help to an extent to help others out. What are we talking normally timeline?
Well, I know of an individual, it took them 3 years. Because usually when you send in your application, it's not like, oh, yeah, you're good to go. Or no, sorry, we can't exempt you. 2 to 1, there's corrections. So it's going back and forth, back and forth. What did we miss? What did I miss? Stuff like that. And then they have to have an actual decision. And sometimes it could go past whoever makes the decisions in, wherever. It can go to the governor. And see if they will sign off on it. But it all depends. I'm not sure the full 100% process, but I mean, it does hold a lot of us up from getting certifications to provide these services, which is where our heart's at to begin with.
This is The Jay Allen Show.
So for years, I have been telling you how I sleep so miserably at night, but that has all changed as of recent, and let me tell you why. Let me tell you about my friends at Helix Sleep. Helix Sleep has a sleep quiz that takes just about 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Why should you buy a mattress made for someone else? With Helix, you're getting a mattress that you will know will be perfect for the way you sleep. Everybody is unique, and Helix knows that. So they have several different mattress models to choose from. They have a soft, medium, and firm mattress. Mattress is great for cooling you down if you sleep hot. And even at Helix Plus mattresses for plus-size sleepers. I took the Helix quiz, and I was matched with the Helix Midnight Luxe mattress because I wanted something that felt soft, and I sleep on my side. It was such a different approach and exactly on how I was able to sleep. I love it. It's a huge upgrade from what I had before, that's for sure. The kids love it, even though they shouldn't be jumping on my bed, but that's a whole other story. And my wife loves it, which is important. So if you're looking for a mattress, you just take the quiz. You order the mattress, and you're matched to it. And the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't even need to go to the mattress store again. Helix is awesome, but you don't need my word for it. Helix was awarded the #1 overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ and Wired magazine. Just go to helixsleep.com/safety. That's helixsleep.com/safety. There, take the 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you up with a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try the mattress for 100 nights, risk-free. They'll even pick it up if you don't love it, but you will. Helix is offering up to $200 off of all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/safety. That's helixsleep.com/safety for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
And we are back on the Jay Allen Show on Safety FM.
So what are some of the requirements that are background-wise? So let's not talk about the level 2 background. What I'm talking about, are you required to have certain experience with X, Y, or Z before they even...
Of course, depending on the certification that you want to go for, that determines the qualifications. So, Of course, there's going to be some kind of experience. So, if we're on the subject of Narcan and the organization I volunteer for, we are certified recovery peer specialists. So, to become one of those, you have to be a person in recovery for a minimum of 2 years or more. Someone who offers services or are affiliated with people who use drugs or are in recovery, or a veteran.
Interesting.
So, and then I think there's going to be another one, but don't quote me on that.
Nobody's listening. It's just you and I.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are the qualifications. And then you have to do a training. You have to do 2 different trainings, actually. You have to do a RAP training, and then you have to have the basic ethics and all that training as well. And then once you've done all that, let's say, hypothetically speaking, you pass the level 2 background, you get your letter, okay, you're good to go. Now you have to send in an application with all the qualifications met. You've done all your training hours and everything. You send in an application to the FCB. They make a decision on whether or not you qualify to take the test for the state certification. And then if you get approved, then they'll set you up for the test. Now, you can apply for indigency, and I think they scholarship you, basically. But if you don't meet those requirements, then you have to pay for the test as well.
And I would imagine that each state has something different that they do.
Of course.
Similar but different all at the same time. So as you're going through this training process, and I'm just curious on my part, of course, how long of a timeline are we taking? I know that you said the background along those lines can take up to 3 years, but when you're going through this training process, what are we talking about length of time? Because it sounds like a time commitment for sure.
Right.
Besides the peer advisor for 2 years that you've already have to be in recovery yourself.
Right. So it's a 40-hour course. Within that 40 hours, you have 16 hours that's allotted for the RAP training. So you have the 16 hours, and then the rest of the 40 is your CRPS training. And then you have to have your volunteer hours, which is, I think, 200 volunteer hours, I believe. And then you have, I think, another 100 or 200 of working hours. So like basically you're shadowing someone, they're letting you do the stuff, under their supervision. And then that's the training right there. And then of course it's all the waiting time from sending and receiving the correspondence. So, I mean, like I said, I know it took them 3 years.
Brittany, let me ask you this, because as you're going through this process that you're wanting to get certified and you're wanting to help other people, how difficult is it to see some of the people that are struggling with some of the things that you might have potentially struggled with prior as you're going through the process?
Right. I mean, it can be hard sometimes, because like for me, I've been through a lot. I won't go into like some crazy detail right now anyways, but I've been through a lot,
We'll leave that for a later episode. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. I'll tell my true story at a later time. Stay tuned.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, like in my case, I have to apply for my level 2 background. So because of my level 2 background, it makes it very difficult for me to go and, get my paid hours that I need for my certification. I mean, I've done them, but you have a 5-year length. All your trainings and everything are good for 5 years, I believe, 2 to 5 years. They might have changed it. I can't remember. But, like I moved up here, I'm in recovery, and, I've worked in centers before down south in South Florida where it was never a problem, but they've made it a little harder, a little more stricter on these backgrounds, and which is fully understandable. I get it because we're dealing with, a vulnerable population. And when you come into contact with a vulnerable population, they want to, make sure that you're there to do the right thing, but with me not being able to pass a background, my sources are limited for how I can help people. And when I see someone that's been in the same exact situation or similar, to me, and I can't help them because of where I'm at in my, stage of getting certified or whatever, it sucks. I can do stuff, as an individual here at home. However, it's hard. It's so hard, because a lot of people aren't 12-step oriented, so to speak, and I can understand that there's more than one way to get recovery. It's not just AA or NA. It's not just CA, it's not just Smart Recovery. It's whatever helps you. For me, my journey, I started in AA, navigated to NA, went back to AA, and now, I'm just kind of doing my own thing, but that's what's working for me right now. So on a 12-step level, I can take someone through the steps. I can, be somewhat of a role model to them, be their sponsor, guide them in the right direction when it comes to recovery related issues, but I'm not a therapist. And let's just be honest, with my background and all the, hurdles and red tape that, has to be done, I probably won't be a therapist, but I'm okay with that. I try to do what I can now. And that's what I do with the Narcan committee that I volunteer for Evolution Recovery Alliance.
So, as you've changed what you're doing and you're helping out with the Recovery Alliance and you're moving forward and you're doing these things, are you limited with some of the things that you're doing also inside of the organization because of the background?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, like they're a nonprofit organization, so they qualify for grants, right? Okay. So in order for us to keep our doors open and to provide some services, the organization survives off of donations and grants right now. And they're a grassroots foundation. So they've been running for, I believe, 2 years now. But so their latest grant that they got required any paid worker to have a level 2 background and pass it. And I don't pass it. So I can't get the job. So, I mean, I know one day it's not going to be like that. And I have hope because things are changing, politically speaking. But, and listen, I'm not a politics person. I just, have friends in the right places. So I hear the right things, right. If that makes sense, from my networking. But it all boils back down to stigma of being a drug user and being a person in recovery. That's really where the meat and potatoes are.
But as you look at this, so those details kind of limit you, but they're also the best suited people you're one of the best suited people to be able to assist because some of the triggers, some of the problems, and so on.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Right, so with some of that going on, what can we do on the listener side of the equation on helping to bring awareness to some of these things, on where some of these things might need to change, and also the awareness of Narcan in some facilities, we'll say facilities, and organizations not wanting to use it? What can we do to assist drive this message home?
Well, the biggest thing is, again, I'll say the word stigma. People have an image in their heads of what people like me are. And it's totally not true. In some cases, yeah. And in my case, I probably fit the mold to the T, but I also know many people who grew up in a wonderful house, didn't have wants for anything, had everything and anything they needed, yet they still turned out, to be a drug user, losing everything, whatever their case is, and we gotta understand that it is a mental illness. We're not really seeing the big picture, because 2 to 1, we're using drugs and alcohol to self-medicate. And, it's a snowball effect. And as far as the Narcan goes, we never know if it's going to work or not. Is it highly successful? Yes. However, we don't know what that person has ingested or how much that person has ingested. So if the Narcan works and brings them back to life, that might be their chance that they're going to get recovery and they're going to stay clean and sober for, the rest of their lives. But we don't know. But the Narcan may just be saving your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your children, and until you're in that situation, you're never really going to understand that. However, people can still be open-minded and not so judgmental, because every day, people are walking with a smile on their face, but really they're battling demons that we don't even know of. Go ahead.
I mean, there's so many things to unpack there as we go through it, because you reference the depression side of it, where people will turn to drugs to it, and I think that's a bigger portion of the conversation that a lot of people don't talk about. At least that's my opinion from what I get to see. I get to see a lot of people dealing with suicidal thoughts, dealing with depression, where they turn to other mediums to ease their mind, or turn away their demons, or fill their demons with something else. And then as you hear about this, it becomes such a struggle, because, okay, people that have experience with this, they're put into a category. And it's difficult to get decategorized at times.
Exactly.
Happen.
Right. You're absolutely right. And, the more we talk about it, the more the stigma is lessened, but not enough people are talking about it. You see a little bit here and there on the news, but what is it really? They're just glorifying the death or the negative aspect of it, not focusing on the positive side, where the person went back to rehab. Okay, great. They went back to rehab. They're going to give this thing another go. Like, it's just for ratings. And I know that, but now with social media and hashtags and Twitter and, you name it, more people are capable of, seeing the message or hearing the message, and if it doesn't help them, it might help someone else. But all I can do with my social media and the messages that I share, all I hope is I plant that seed for, maybe one day, not that day, but one day in the future, they might think about what I posted and that message that it sent, and, stop using drugs. But, I can't be responsible for other people's actions. All I can do is lead by example, and my 12-step program says, rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. So, why create more work for you? Just go down the path that's already been laid for you. So
why reinvent the wheel? So
exactly.
I got a strange question for you. What are we talking about roughly pricing on the doses for Narcan? I know that you said that the organization you get to interact with, they take donations. What are we talking about for price per dose on average?
Oh, we don't sell Narcan.
Oh no, I know you don't sell it, but normally what is it? Well, you have to purchase it. So I'm just trying to figure out what. Right. So what is your organization have to go through in regards to purchasing it? Like, what is the average cost? Not that you're going to buy it. Mm-hmm.
Right. So as an individual, if I go to a pharmacy without insurance, it's, I want to say, no, with insurance, it's $125 with insurance.
Okay.
Without insurance, there's some pharmacies that will give you the Narcan for $25 without insurance, but those are far and few in between. You can go online to Narcan.com, I believe, and they will send you a coupon. So again, it would be $25. There are organizations and other websites that you can go to get free Narcan. Us as the Volusia Recovery Alliance, we are a contracted distributor through the Department of Children and Families for the state of Florida. So what that means is we have shown the need for Narcan within our area or our county of Volusia, and we were contracted to distribute Narcan to the communities that need it the most. Now, we try and target, different areas, but we also get our information and where we need to host an event from Mike Chitwood, and he's the sheriff for Volusia County. So we don't pay for a Narcan. It comes straight from DCF, so we can get it into the hands that need it, who don't have insurance or don't have the money, or even the people who feel like ashamed for, asking for Narcan. You never know. We set up with our pharmacy, Ben's Pharmacy. We did an event there by his request, and the people who were getting the Narcan were the people who were picking up their scripts that same day. And they were embarrassed to fill a script for Narcan. So they rather, do it on the sly. And again, that goes back to the stigma.
And that's probably the conversation that we need to have going forward in regards of how do we get the stigma away. Now, if people want to know more about what you're doing and more about you, where can they go out to find out more information?
You can go to, you can look us up on Facebook, Instagram, or our website. We are Volusia Recovery Alliance, and the website is VolusiaRecoveryAlliance.org. And it shows all our events. We do all our community meetings on Zoom right now. So that way, we can target outside sources as well. We're always, we always have our hand out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We are located in Daytona Beach, Florida, and we serve the Volusia County.
And I would assume, though, that if people want to know more information, they can also go there about other resources that might be available throughout the country by going through your organization as well, correct?
Yes, of course. So we have a list of places that provide services such as sober living homes, detox, mental health services. You name it, we pretty much have it. We are in the process of planning our third annual overdose awareness event, which will be in September. So we have a lot going on. We're always looking for volunteers. Also donations. Donations definitely help us keep the doors open and, getting Narcan to people who need it, getting people into housing and, start their journey to recovery and a better way of life. So.
Well, Brittany, I can't tell you how much I appreciate, number one, you coming onto the show, and number two, what you're doing to help the community in regard to bringing this information forward. And I'm glad that you have actually taken your platform and stood in front of a whole bunch of people and said, hey, let's talk about this, and let's not play the blame and shame game. Let's bring it out to the general public, which most people wouldn't do. So I appreciate it, and I applaud you for doing that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, I would like to thank Brittany Smith for coming on to the show today and really having this very important discussion of talking about Narcan, mental health, and addiction. Anyways, as she had said, you can go to the different websites that she had listed. VolusiaCountyRecoveryAlliance.org. That's VolusiaCountyRecovery.org. Or you can go to isaveflorida.com. Now, keep in mind that some of these websites are precise or specific to Florida. Don't worry about that because there is some other information that you can look into that takes you to different portions that you can look at it from a national level. For more information about some other things, you can go to Narcan.com as well. And let me tell you about my friends real quick before I let you go, because we are talking about the subject of addiction and depression, which sometimes does lead to suicidal thoughts. You can go to my friends at the AFSP.org. That's AFSP.org to find out more information about what's going on in your local community. That's the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Know that you're not alone. Go to the website to find out more information. Thank you for taking a listen to what we have going on here today on Safety FM. You are the best part of Safety FM. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. We'll be back with another episode of The Jay Allen Show before too long. Goodbye for now.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all 3 books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
You got into the safety business because you wanted to protect people, but somewhere along the way, the job started controlling your time, your schedule, your priorities, even your income potential. What if the expertise you've built over the years in the field can give you something more? More freedom, more control, more ownership of your future. I'm Sheldon Primus, the author of 7 Steps to Starting a Profitable Safety Consulting Business and the host of the Safety Consultant Podcast, with more than 350 episodes helping safety professionals become consultants and grow their career. Consulting changed my life. In fact, I'm a full-time RVer, and one consulting contract paid for my home I live in today. Now, I help safety professionals build their own consulting practice through bi-weekly coaching calls, accountability, and personal guidance. But this program isn't for everyone. Start with the Consultant Readiness Audit at sheldon.coach.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete Signal Transmission Trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.